And I want to welcome you today, January 23rd, 2026. And what's getting ready to happen? They're calling it the storm of the century. They're calling it the storm of the century. Some areas are going to get ice, some are going to get ice and snow, some are going to get snow. But panic has set in. Consumers are calling people like crazy. We're seeing people posted, the number of calls they're getting are just bamboozling them. But here's what the message I want you to remember. If you run a home service company, tell your people to have empathy for the consumer. How does the consumer not know that you can't get to them today or you can't get to them before this winter weather is going to set in? Yes, it's their fault. I know that. They waited until the last minute. But, folks, that's human nature. I've been on the receiving end of those calls myself. God, I can remember the times of power outages. And back in the older days, all our remote controls for gas appliances were hooked up to 110 volts. And when the power was out, guess what? That fireplace didn't come on. It's a bad situation. So anyway, but it kind of goes into our topic today. Before we go, Josh, what would you tell people in preparation if they're running a business? What do you do? Because this is a very panic-stricken time for many people.
So everything that you're doing now, write it down. That way, next time you can delegate it. So if you need a snowplow service, write down who you're calling. If you have, because like Cheryl was just telling me, it's going to be 6 single digits down there by you. And I remember a friend down there who had a store, and it got that cold, and then his radiators were freezing on his work trucks. They're like, well, it doesn't get this cold in North Carolina. And so that is a plan of action, right? Have we put antifreeze in the trucks? Because apparently there was no antifreeze in those trucks, and it wasn't a big deal because of it never gets this cold. Where are you parking your trucks? Is this the time where employees take them home, or can you park them in an adjacent lot or move them out of the way? That way you can come through and plow. Do you have a plow plan? Can you move any of them inside? We tried to move as many inside as we could. Do you have a plan of action for people to be able to call out of work? So, like I had a policy, as you know, I start at 7 a.m. The sun's not up, right, at 7 a.m. here. It's pitch black. I personally don't want to be driving on the roads when it's that dark. And, I don't want my trucks on the road when it's that dark. So if the schools had a closing or 2-hour delay, we always delayed the trucks based on, that county school. That way I could at least get an opportunity to see what was really going on. I could get out, see the roads, and, then you get an opportunity to call people, because we can't call people at 6:30 in the morning. Apparently some people think that's rude. So it gives you those sort of opportunities to work. Have a script for your CSRs. Do they have, is your driveway shoveled? Is your sidewalk shoveled? Can they get in the house? Especially for installs, things like that. Is there snow on the roof, or can we, is that part of it? Having those questions ready and a plan of action is going to make a big help for you the next time around.
Yeah. So Cheryl, what's your thoughts on this impending storm as a consumer? What's your big worries right now about the storm that's coming in?
Basically, just being Cheryl, it sucks. Okay. It's freezing water. It's lack of power. I mean, we have things set here. We're good. Or we can survive. I'm worried about the older people out there that aren't. Some people, and it goes back to what we're talking about today, the comfort zone. People have lived in that comfort zone, especially here. They've lived in the comfort zone so long that all of a sudden it's hit. The grocery stores are empty. I mean, we needed milk and bread because we needed milk and bread in the story. Uh, Stores are out of milk and bread here. Imagine that. So the grocery stores need to get out of their comfort zone. People need to look ahead. They need to have a few things. One thing I suggest is if you're traveling, you need a travel bag with the essentials in case the car stops. You and I spent one night in the middle of the road in the snow at Hershey. Cold. We had a full tank of gas. We had protein bars, which one of us didn't like to eat. But it was, we had something, we had a survival thing. There were cars there that ran out of gas. They were totally out of their comfort zone. But I think that's the problem. Eventually, a storm like this was going to come. People need to be prepared. You don't wait till the last minute. And I think part of it, the problem with the customer right now is that the companies don't advertise or put up informationals early enough that we're going into winter season, people. We need to get things done prior to, not after at. Like, my daughter is a CSR. They're going crazy. They're answering phones right and left, and they can't feel the need. So my thing is the fear of not being prepared of people and not looking forward any more than they can see the next day. I'm not a huge planner, but common sense tells us that sooner or later there's going to be snow. We didn't expect what we're looking for now, but we still find that people, they stay in that comfort zone. They have heat in the house, they have lights, they have all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they have no heat and they have no lights. So to me, part of the comfort zone thing we're supposed to talk about on other things fills that gap also.
Yeah. And how well I remember that night on that highway, that interstate in West Virginia, sitting there because the snow piled up. I think that it was measured in feet on that trip that night. And yeah, we had enough to survive. At the same time, you're looking at all those cars. We were just stuck there from like 10 o'clock at night till about 5 or 6 o'clock the next morning. And it was kind of funny because last Sunday, I've got a flight to catch. So I've got a car that I drive to the airport and went out, and my door was froze shut because it had rained the night before. And so the driver's door was shut. It was froze shut. Luckily, I got in the passenger side and was able to crank the car up and heat it up where the door finally opened so I could head to the airport. But anyway, yeah, best of luck, folks. But again, please have empathy for the consumers that call you, because they're going to remember this. When you're nasty to them, hey, there's going to come time in the future that they're going to need your services. And we're nasty to them now, they're not going to call us. So just be aware. Have empathy for their situations. But let's go with the topic of today. What did we pick out today? The comfort zone, where so many people are trapped inside of that comfort zone. They're just trapped there because it feels so good to be in that comfort zone. But what that means is they're not going to try new things. Sometimes business is just going so good, we stop our marketing efforts. We stop trying to get reviews. We're scared to try new programs. We're scared to try new things. But here's what you got to remember. If you don't change, nothing changes for you. Being trapped in that comfort zone, it's a very lonesome place. Yes, sometimes you got to have a mentor. You got to have somebody, a colleague you can talk to get you through those challenges. So Cheryl, what's your thoughts on the comfort zone and people being caught in a comfort zone?
I think it's more prevalent than any of us even know. They're stuck there. They're afraid to stick their foot out. I like to try new things. Most people don't. They're scared of failure. And I think that's why so many people stay in their, quote, comfort zone, is because they're afraid if they stick a toe out, they're going to fail. And without failure, you're not going to succeed. That's my opinion. So I watch it every day. I listen to people that I'm hiring. They were in their comfort zone. They had a job. All of a sudden, the company closed down. All of a sudden, they were laid off for another reason. And all of a sudden, they're thrown out of that zone now, and they're just totally oblivious to what to do. The opposite side of a business owner. So, but businesses, I hear them. I'm working with them also, and most of them right now are freaking out because they didn't get out of that comfort zone quick enough.
Yeah. It's like a lot of times we're not looking ahead. We're not putting together our marketing plans for the future. We're just really so comfortable where we're at. The money is flowing in, but seasons change and consumer demand is going to change. This midwinter storm, is it going to bring business to a lot of people? You better believe it. There's going to be all kinds of problems from this. Busted pipes, tree limbs are going to be falling. I'm looking out here right now wondering how many tree limbs we're going to see down when this ice hits over the weekend. Josh, what's your thoughts on the comfort zone? You ever been stuck in that comfort zone, buddy?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Because it's hard. Sometimes you just, I love getting in the computer stuff, but I don't want to learn new software. Sometimes I don't want to learn Excel or whatever that program can be, but it can definitely be from that standpoint. You see it all the time. You get some, like, even changing softwares. I never used to have a problem doing that because I was always looking for new and better, but it's a huge undertaking. Some people just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's what you really need to focus on, is what this change is going to alleviate, what this policy is going to alleviate. You think, okay, well, if I make this policy, I'm going to lose some customers. And I'm like, no, the ones that respect that are going to stay, type thing. That, for example, like real estate transactions, are always paid up front because there's always whoever's calling usually is the one responsible for payment, and people are worried they're going to lose that customer. Or I know one person who gets 100% payment for all his services up front because it closes down his cancel rate. His cancel rate's the lowest of anybody I know, and it was and I've had other people ask, I'm really aggravated with all these cancellations. Like, I know a guy who's doing it. It's a little bit more work on the front end, but you can make that change. So it's just kind of, what's the cause and effect? The effects may be a lot better than what you think they are.
Okay. So let's talk about it a minute. There's a path out of the comfort zone that I think you've got to do. And we see a lot of people, they don't follow this path. And Josh, you're a shooter. So whenever you're going to take a shot, what do? You get ready.
Yeah.
You aim the gun, and then you pull the trigger and fire the bullet. Am I correct? Is that the process of
safe? There's a lot of breathing in there. Yeah. Getting my breathing right.
That's it. You've got to, and that's where a lot of people don't put together the plan. They're not going through the ready, aim, and fire. They're firing the gun, but they don't have a path of how that bullet's going to travel to get to the target. And that's what life's all about. If you're going to come out of the comfort zone, put together your GPS of how you're going to get there. Just like taking any trip. If you head out on a trip, Josh, you recently went to New York to see a Broadway play. Am I correct?
Yep.
You took a train, you told me. Am I right?
Yep, 100%.
You took a train to go. You took a train to come back. You decided where you were going to park your car at to get on the train. And you knew the train schedule, so you're not standing out in the cold wondering when the next train's going to get there. Am I right?
That is 100% because it was cold.
It was cold. So that's what you got to do in life, in business. To come out of the comfort zone, what is your path that you're going to take? What's the path you're going to follow in this journey? That's my thoughts on getting out of the comfort zone. Put together your GPS to get to the destination that you dream of. Cheryl, what's yours? What would you tell people to do to get out of that comfort zone and handle and take these difficult journeys that life requires us to do?
One thing I've always liked to tell people to try to move forward is, instead of saying why, say why not sometime. Why not take an extra step? Why not, as Josh was talking about, learn more? As you're talking about, set your path. Why not? I mean, like my little thing says, I would like at the end of the day to be able to say, I did instead of I can't. And so I think if people would just quit being so afraid of taking a step, and you may disagree with me, I think fear is 99% of it, fear of making a mistake.
I got you covered. Josh, what's your advice to somebody to get their butt out of that comfort zone and make the moves they got to make?
Well, pain is an excellent motivator, as you've said, and I've said thousands of times. What are your pain points? What's really pissing you off, and do you want to keep doing it? What's the definition of crazy? I like podcasts. There were some podcasts and books were two of my favorites. Podcasts made me feel bad. I'll be honest with you, because they always interview top tier people usually. And you're like, well, why is my business not running this efficiently? Books didn't make me feel bad. But books, reading and getting ideas from books that are tangible. Like a lot of the stuff I do for literature brochure making is based on that book. They Ask, You Answer. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
That's and I'm fine tuning that from listening to customers. The actual customers is a lot of how I go about making that stuff.
And last week, in the episode we did last week, we talked about what inspires you. And as you go to it, when you look, the people that inspire you more than likely have traveled a difficult path to get where they are. They had to face the need to change. And we've interviewed a lot of people on here since we've been running our episodes now for several years. We've got quite a few episodes backed up, but there's a lot of people we've interviewed. And that's what they did. They faced their challenges. They got their mindset and they went after it, because life is going to throw challenges at you. And like Cheryl said, you're going to fail more than you win. But you got to do as Dr. John Maxwell says, when you fail forward. Failure is simply the tuition to tell you what you need to do better in the future. Cheryl, anything you would add to this before we check out this week?
One thing I'd like to add is, if everybody needed something to go on their screensaver, put up there, get out of your own way.
There you go. That's a good one there. Josh, anything you would add before we check out this week?
Actually, I had one other thought about the storm preparedness. Offer extra compensation to team members, during this. Hey, if we can do priority, don't be afraid to offer double time. Charge the customers, emergency service versus priority service. There's that terminology difference. Like, hey, all our regular appointments are booked. We just have priority service. Would you be interested in that? And then offering double time, instead of just overtime, but double time to the techs, or bonuses or something else that they may really feed off. Because, be honest with you, some of them may be out of work for a week too while things stall out. And you might want to bring that to some people's attention.
Yep, all good thoughts. So here's what we want to do. Snowmageddon, Ice-mageddon, whatever we're going to call it. And here in North Carolina, Looks like we're going to have a mix. It's going to be ice and it's going to be snow. It's going to be cold. So here's what I want to do. I want to wish each and every one of you that are listening to us the most success in getting through this impending storm. I hope you, your family, and every member of your company gets through this okay. And the sun will shine again. We all know that. And with that, we're going to end this episode. We appreciate you joining us in. As always, it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure. Be sure and join us every week. Feel free to share this out to other people. Feel free to add your comments. If you've got something to add that will be of value, we'd love to see it in the comments after our show. Anyway, this is Jerry Eisenhower, Cheryl Eisenhower, Josh Kelly, and we will see you next week on the next episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. Have a fantastic time ahead in this winter storm. Best wishes, each and every one of you.